Thanks very much, Councillor Corlin. I'm speaking to Amendment 13, which has been grouped with Deputy Hearn's amendment here. Look, I won't dwell on it, but the same point I made in terms of the previous bill applies here. 2 hours to do committee and report stage, detailed issues that have to be addressed, climate issues, issues to do with balanced regional development, and issues to do with the very significant impact that noise pollution has on people residing in the vicinity of the airport. Real issues, issues where there is disagreement here, issues where maybe if we'd had the time of committee we could find a resolution on a small number of these, and that's been denied to us this evening by the way in which this bill is being rushed through the House. Again, I think only the second example in this stall, in this stall where we're having committee and report stage rammed through like this. I don't think it's acceptable, and it doesn't treat the issues that so many TDs from all parties spoke about when this matter was before PLS. Everyone's saying it's terrible for the residents, we're listening to you, we want to help you. Well, when you bang a bill through the Dáil in 2 hours, that's not listening, that's not a genuine effort to help. My amendment here is intended to allow a future minister amend the passenger cap for pro-climate reasons. And the bill currently allows the minister to intervene where the passenger cap is judged to cause serious economic or connectivity harm. But there is no equivalent situations for where if this minister or future minister believed that the level of passenger numbers was causing significant environmental or significant climate harm. So it is to recognise there's a power, but a power that can be used in different ways. That is, it recognises that there is actually a climate question here. Because as the bill is currently drafted, it recognises one set of risks, but not the other set of risks. And I think it would be a reasonable compromise for the minister to accept this particular provision. It would, in that case, the bill wouldn't be pro-cap or anti-cap. It would simply future-proof this bill and allow a minister to consider climate and environmental considerations in the same way as other economic interests. And that question, I suppose, of how we deal with the 32 million passenger number cap, a cap that was put in as a planning condition, as a transport condition initially, is of course central to what we're looking at here. Absolutely, everybody recognises flying is essential for an island nation. But how we deal with the situation caused by the 2007 planning application is what's at issue here. We know last year 36 million passengers went through the airport, just over that, in breach of the cap. We know that the DAA has actually brought a planning application using the existing mechanisms there to bring that up to 40 million. Minister, you and your team, you floated the idea of 60 million passengers going through Dublin Airport in the future, bringing it to the equivalent of what JFK did in 2024 and 2025. So that's a huge scale. And what we're doing in this bill is basically opening the door to any scale of development. It isn't a planned, it isn't a graduated increase. It's the removal of a cap and allow any level of flights take place. Not even the DAA was going that far in terms of the planning application that it put in. And that will have climate consequences, and we'll address those, no doubt, in later amendments. But it does have significant issues in terms of increased noise in the area of the airport. Later on, I'm talking about making a reference to the noise abatement objective for Dublin Airport and including that in the bill as one of the measures that would try and provide some degree of reassurance to residents in the area. And when we were at committee, we heard the likes of Ryanair, and I know Michael O'Leary in many situations has said, the people, they knew what they were getting into when they bought houses, be it in Swords, be it in Malahide, be it in Hollywood Wrap, be it in Dublin 15. I think that's an outrageous statement to make. People buy houses where they can afford them. That's the nature of house purchasing in Ireland right now. And some people, if they can afford in Kilmartin Grove, or if they can afford in Hollywood Rath, be it private purchase, be it affordable, be it social housing, be it cost rental, be it build to rent, as many of those homes. People don't have huge choice in terms of where they have a home in this country right now because of the wider issues in our property market. And sometimes people have to buy where they can, where the price matches their budget. And if that's somewhere that's already affected by high number of flights and is going to be affected further, particularly if the exponential growth that is permitted under this legislation takes place. That's going to have a major impact on that, and it's not acceptable, in my view, for the owners and beneficiaries of these large airlines just to dismiss people's very real concerns. This impacts my constituency. I've canvassed in these areas. I've heard the impact of noise on these households, and that is only going to grow as a result of this piece of legislation. Minister, you said you are, in advancing this legislation, you're not setting aside our climate obligations. So just so it is on the record of the House, Section 39 of the bill you're advancing today, modifications of application of Section 15 of the Climate Act and Low Carbon Development Act 2015. And it's worth just looking at what that actually does. The Minister and the Commission, this Commission in performing their functions under this Act shall not be subject to the requirements referred to in Section 15(1) of the Climate Act and Low Carbon Development Act 2015, having regard to the likely consequences for the economy of the state and for international connectivity if an order is not made by the Minister under Section 25(1). So the Minister and the Commission are not subject to the requirements under 15(1) of the Climate Act. What are those requirements? 5 requirements set out in law. A relevant body shall, insofar as practicable, perform its functions in a manner consistent with the most recently approved Climate Action Plan, the most recently approved Long-Term Climate Action Strategy, the most recently approved National Adaptation Framework and approved Sectoral Adaptation Plan, the furtherance of the National Climate Objective and the objective of mitigating greenhouse gas emissions and adapting to the effects of climate change in the state. The words literally are overused, but you are literally disapplying climate obligations to this, through this particular bill. It literally says it in 39, Section 39. So can we just move away from this idea that you're not? You are. It says it on the face of Section 39. And it is everything from the annual, or what used to be the annual climate action plans, all the way up to the importance of the national climate objective that the state has, that is the centrepiece of the Climate Action Act as amended. So these are being disapplied from the crucial decision on a lifting of the airport cap. It's been disapplied in other areas as well in the previous piece of legislation on the decision on LNG. It's been disapplied under possibly many decisions coming through on the critical infrastructure bill. In some places, it's actually going to make pro-climate critical infrastructure harder to defend in courts, but I've raised that point already. But let's just be very clear, it is literally disapplying our climate obligations. That's the purpose of Section 39. Just on the point of, I suppose, the engagement with this process, and you mentioned the PLS process, and yes, there was a lengthy PLS process. We got to hear in detail the impact of noise on residents. We got to hear in detail the attempt by certain US CEOs to bully us into making this particular change. But we are now looking at the detailed legislation at this point. And you yourself made the point that when the ANCA legislation was going through engagement with the Minister, you were able to secure some amendments. You were able to secure some improvements. We can't do that tonight because we haven't even had the opportunity to go through good amendments. We haven't even had the opportunity to go through some of these points in detail because most ministers, most fair-minded ministers, after a committee stage will at least look at what the opposition have said and make some changes, make some improvements. We don't have this opportunity here. So I have a good amendment for you, Minister, amendment number 14. It's about you yourself recognise the work that ANCA have done. You recognise yourself that they've recently published a decision. Let's give that decision some teeth. Let's recognise the noise abatement objective for Dublin Airport in this legislation. Let's recognise that that's one of the considerations that that Commission Pleanála should use in terms of a decision, a recommendation it makes that you will ultimately make a decision on. There are good amendments here. We and you just don't have the time to tease them out and bring forward perhaps counter amendments. That's the process. We're helpless in terms of that now, but there are good amendments here and some of these should be accepted.